The project charter, of course, it comes handy. We can make use of resource management plan and stakeholders management plan in the project management plan as the components, the inputs. The enterprise environmental factors along with the project documents that can be used as inputs, and of course the organizational process assets also come handy. All these are, you have already learned all these things, right? So if we keep on stressing and repeating these things again, we may lose the time to explain the things that we have not learned before. Okay, so I'm rushing to the tools. So the expert judgment, someone who is expert in the project deliverables, or the communications technology expert, the legal expert regarding the corporate communications, for example. So all those experts are consulted while creating this plan. The communication requirements analysis, right? So this is something new to learn. So it says analysis. What are we analyzing here? The information needs of the stakeholders in the project. So we are analyzing the information needs of the stakeholder. What we will do is first we identify the void, or the need of the information. So we first identify, okay, here we need some information to be given to a particular stakeholder, and then we also identify the source of this information, who can support with this void. So such kind of analysis is communication requirement analysis. So this is typically done using simple boxes, like we have learned this is somebody who needs information, and this is somebody who has that information. So how the flow should happen, right, from A to B. So such diagrammatic representation can be seen in some of the organizations, but typically not required. If you just identify that, okay, this is the source, this is the need, even that is enough. So that's all about the requirements analysis. And then we have communication technology. It is also a very good tool. But for this to happen successfully, or to make full use of this, we as a project manager has to make the technology accessible to all the stakeholders. Some stakeholders do not have access to all the tools, so we just have to make sure that all the drives are being given access to, all the SharePoint links are being accessible to all the stakeholders. So not just installing the software, but all the related accesses have to be ensured. The communication model, okay, this is also something new that we have not learned so far. It sounds so sophisticated, but trust me, this is quite simple. Only two types of communication models are possible. So what are these? A communication model which is just one way, right? So from A to B, that is one type. And second thing is from A to B, and then a feedback from B to A again. Simple, right? So it's like a person is sending encoded message, and a person B who receives it, he has to decode it. I mean, this need not be as scary as it sounds, but encoding and decoding, you don't focus on the encryption part. This is only for the sake of understanding that a person records a message and then he transmits it via some channel, and then somebody else receives it. On his monitor he can see that email. That's it. It's as simple as that. So, but the main thing to focus here is the models, whether it is a single directional information or interactive type of communication. So what can be the examples of single direction? You might have seen so many, promotional emails, some brochures from the vendors, or so many event related emails that we get to see from HRs. All these are one-sided informations. We cannot give any reply back to them. But when we speak about the two-sided communications, we can talk about the daily email exchanges, about the work statuses, about the project work, or anything that has both information from both directions, right? So these are the two major communication models that we have to learn. The communication methods, this is typically talking about the stakeholders that are using the communication channels. Like, are they pushing the information or are they pulling it? Again, if we talk about the company brochures, the newsletters, the information about all the upcoming trainings and all these are considered to be pushing method of communication. There is no pull here. From the sender to receiver, there is just push method of communication. The pull type of information is like you are being asked to provide some feedback after this lecture, right? So that is the feedback forms. So that is a pull type of information. So those are the, again, two methods that we can discuss. The interpersonal team skills, of course, the soft skills to make the people communicate better, create political awareness, cultural awareness, all these things come under interpersonal team skills. Multiple data representation tools can be used. And of course, meetings are also a very important tool in this process. Moving on, managing the communication. Let's quickly see what's new here. Outputs. And before we go, this process just make sure that the information is happening at the required time, right? So managing the time is like you're ensuring that all the process is happening within the agreed time, within the required time, with all the agreements between the people. So, and also this happens throughout the process, not just at one point in time. So if we talk about the outputs here, first thing as an output is the project communications. I think this is also something new that we have not learned so far. So this is nothing but the summary of current status of deliverables. The project management plan gets updated. The If not the complete management plan, typically the process of communication, the communication management plan, the stakeholder engagement plan, anything that is related to the communication gets updated here. Again, similarly, the project documents which are related to the communications, like lessons learned, a stakeholder register, who is being communicated, the issue logs, the result of these communications, they are the issues. So all these things get updated in the project documents. And organizational process assets are being updated. Not so common, right? Why? As you might have observed, only a few of the processes lead to the updation of organizational process assets, right? Not all of the processes are going to update organizational process assets. So this is one of those few processes. So basically, majority of the project related documents which are requested as information are most probably also updated after the feedback from receiver. So it is important that such process assets are also important, updated. That is why this is being updated here. Okay, let's move to the inputs that we need. Again, I'm running a bit quickly here because we have a lot to cover. The project management plan is a very good source. If we talk about project documents, the same ones that we quoted as outputs, the issue log, the change log, the quality reports, the risk reports, all these are part of the project documents. The work performance reports, like the progress reports, the status reports, all these things can be used as inputs. And of course, the default enterprise environmental factors and the organizational process assets are also used as inputs. Let's have a quick look at the tools and techniques. The communication technology, all the communication technology and communication methods that we just discussed in the previous process, everything is applicable also here. The communication skills that are needed. We have not talked about the skills before, I believe. So, this might include, of course, the soft skills like public speaking, the presentation skills, effective speaking skills, whether you're speaking concisely or are you extending the conversation unnecessarily. The non-verbal skills like body gestures, it could be the eye contact when we are speaking. All these communication skills are also important. Again, don't limit only to these skills that I just quoted. You can think of any communication skill that can enhance the management of the communication, and you can apply here. The examples are not just limits to this. Next thing, I believe you all agree how important this PMIS is. So project management information system, all the communication channels, they are all very important. Project reporting. What is project reporting? This is nothing but formally presenting the project related information in specific formats that both the stakeholders or all the stakeholders agree before. So again, interpersonal and team skills, the soft skills like cultural awareness, political awareness, networking, all these things are quite important. And of course, finally, the meetings are also a very good tool when you're managing the communications.